Turok! There are countless cases in gaming history where a game gets overshadowed by another one. Whether by chance or bad luck, it never got the spotlight they could have had. Turok is the perfect example of this, as despite being the first proper shooter tailor-made for the Nintendo 64 console, I don't count Doom 64, it got subsided by GoldenEye a few months later. Being for console, it has some quirks that were typical for that platform, making it differ from the shooter norms of the time. The ability to save only in prefixed locations, and not whenever the player wanted, is a good example of this. Other aspects that greatly influenced this console status was its bigger focus on platforming challenges, which fair as well as you can guess, and how as you, the player, needs to find the keys that unlock the successive levels, instead of being unlocked by completion alone. To be fair though, in standard FPSs you do need the keys inside the levels themselves, so I guess that balances it out. I'm using the PC soundtrack for the recordings on the archive channel, by the way. I don't want to get lawyers of Nintendo at my door because they believe it had an exclusive right on the file compression of the N64 or something. Speaking of audio, Spirit of Invincibility, the power that slows down the time, has an effect to reverb all the audio. I wonder how many people heard it for the first time and thought, yep, my TV is dying. The gameplay itself is alright. The gun feel and roster are satisfying enough. Other facets that are kind of intriguing are the portals that bring you to secretaries to gain extra health and ammo, but if you're not careful enough you come out with less. I know it happened to me. Another thing I liked a lot is the contextual music. Depending on where you are you can hear different tracks. There is the underwater theme and the cave theme, fading away in and out. It's a neat feature. Also, this game is called Dinosaur Hunter, but if you try to hunt anything else, it doesn't die. It gets teleported somewhere else. Okay, I guess. And I've been saying a bunch of nonsense, but I want to get you an idea of what game Turok is to explain a point I want to make. A boomer shooter thrives when it embraces an atmosphere and builds its design around it. Let's start from the definition. In this context, what do I mean as atmosphere? Well, games are at their best when they manage to do two things. They are fun to play and make the player feel something. Whether that may be happiness, sadness, peace, anger, fear, relief, frustration, catharsis, or something else entirely, depends on the vision of the designer. The first one is accomplished throughout the game's mechanics, while the second one is a more complex endeavor to succeed. Many games achieve it by using a well-constructed narrative with interesting stories and complex characters. However, this does not work for everything. Retro-inspired FPSs, or more commonly called boomer shooters, cannot do it because storytelling contrasts with the core design philosophy of this genre. Fast-paced action. So, what to do? Well, you can tell a story, but you can still set the player in a certain mood by tweaking various aspects of a game, from graphics to art direction, from music to sound design, and so much more. All the things that don't impact the gameplay, and thus can be constructed to stop the player in a defined state of mind, to make them feel something without breaking the flow of combat. Here are some practical examples. With its settings based around urban areas, its buffed up protagonist, alien villains, and humongous visuals, it's clear that Duke Nukem 3D aims for the same exaggerated action-packed atmosphere of the action movies it is inspired from. Another one, Blood. The maps are gothic in nature. Heck, its first level is based in a cemetery and a church/crematorium. The enemies are cultists and other demonic entities, and the innocent people can do nothing but scream as they get mowed down. All of this fill the player with dread, but you can still kick around the heads of your fallen foes for a good chuckle. Blood has an atmosphere of campy horror, one that gives both frights and laughs. A modern example, Dusk, very similar to Blood, but instead manages to be unique by leaning much more towards the actual horror. Ask any player their most memorable moment, and many will have the same response, when they went down the ruins. And in Turok's case, with its jungle setting, time-warping shenanigans, and robot dinosaur fights, it's clear that it sends the atmosphere of a wacky comic book adventure, from which Turok actually originates from. My point is this: if you're making a boomer shooter, and you want it to be something memorable, not something that will be submerged by the sea of choice of this resurging genre, then make sure to pick a specific atmosphere and revel in it. Let every visual and sound clue emphasize it. I believe that this will make your project go from a good idea into something unique and really cool. Thanks for watching.